Final game of the 2025 calendar year for the Philadelphia 76ers. While they're at it, you might want to snap this 3-game losing streak. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers pregame show, live from the Xfinity Lounge, along with Derek and Kyle. I'm Devon, and we got Lindsay in here hanging out with us for the final show of 2025. All of you, thank you for hanging out with us for this pregame show. Sixers-Grizzlies, we are presented by Bet365, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure when you sign up, you use code PHLY365 when you do. We'll get to our pregame picks, courtesy of Bet365. At the end of the show, we'll give you the starters as well, and we'll talk about the guard matchup that was normally billed as an all-star guard level matchup. I mean, Ja Morant is still, technically, he has it on his resume, but not the same guard that we've seen over the years.
No.
But certainly Tyrese Maxey is in that conversation. We'll talk about that one after the break. But we start off with, Kyle, they just simply need to snap this 3-game losing streak.
Boy, do they.
Some good vibes back going into the new year.
Lee Nguyen comes into the chat and says, schedule win
There
tonight.
you go. There you go.
I don't know if those exist for them right now, the way that they have played over the last week. When you lose to the Brooklyn Nets, you lose to a mediocre Bulls team. I am not taking the Thunder in their own category, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything for granted. I think the encouraging thing about last game is that Tyrese Maxey was able to get back on track. I know that the second half was nowhere near as good as the first half, but that was largely about how the Thunder defended him, how the Thunder defended the entire team. With all due respect to the Memphis Gizzlies, they have some players on the team I like. They don't exactly have the ability to shut the water off to the degree the Oklahoma City Thunder do. So if Tyrese gets off to a good start tonight, and I know a lot of people are going to be watching very closely as he and Joel and Paul play off of one another again. We're going to see if they can finally get off the schneid as a group this year. They're going for 1-4, baby, as the big three. But final game of the year, I think despite the way the calendar year started, despite some of the ups and downs, I'm feeling mostly positive and optimistic about the team and the organization heading into 2026. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully they're able to send us all off into the new year with a win, and we can all pretend our New Year's resolutions will last more than the first couple weeks of January.
Kyle previewing next Monday's show. Why are the Sixers 0-5 when their big three plays? No, I mean, look, I think this is obviously a team that they should be able to contend with. Memphis really struggles to score the basketball. They've got a lot of people injured. Their depth is compromised. This is a chance this at a get-right game. Now, to Kyle's point, Brooklyn Nets should have been a scheduled win as well, and we all saw how that turned out. I am interested. It's hard to sit here and say what are you primarily looking at and not say how the big three play alongside of each other. We ran through a bunch of those numbers in Monday's show. By and large, when those three are on the court together, the team does have success. I think it was like a plus 5.2 net rating in the limited minutes that they are on the floor, but they have not been able to find the pairings outside of that to bring home some wins. I do think this is a group that if you give them 30 games from here on out, I think they'll be able to find some type of a rhythm. I think they're talented enough on both ends of the court. The question is, can you get 30 games with all three of them? That seems like a tall ask, but good
luck.
And also, while you're figuring out, can you win enough games to keep yourself in a good position? Again, this is one they should have. This is one they have to have if they want to salvage this 5-game road trip even a little bit. And right now, salvaging feels like going 2-3, but you can't let this one slip.
No, and I like that Yams calls them the medium-sized three in the chat, because when you do look at
the moderate three,
as we talked about it yesterday, the moderate three, the medium-sized three, 0-4 when they're all out there on the floor together. Number one, it starts with just simply win against this basketball team. Memphis is right there along with you. They're 15-17, so it's not too much separating the two. And as you guys talked about, their depth is compromised with all the injuries that they have. If you see their injury report, it is amazing.
It is a mash unit out there for them.
But they do have Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. We're going to finally get a chance to see Cedric Coward out there on the floor as well. This is an opportunity for them to close out the year the right way, pick up a win that they have not yet been able to do with the big three out there on the floor, medium, moderate, whatever you want to call them, to just simply get a W and end the year right, go into the new calendar year on a high note. and going in at 17 and 14 because you let 2 drop. And when you let the 2 drop of Brooklyn and you let the 1 drop of Chicago as well, you oftentimes you're just looking at the schedule week. I know it's something that I use. I'm not going to put it on these guys a lot of just simply stacking the wins. Devon, stop saying that. But it was important because of what they have in front of them in January, what it's going to be in front of them in March when the 17 and 31 or 17 and 30 or 18 and 31 that they're going to have, where they need to pick up victories. And when you drop 2 that you probably should have had, how it would have happened tonight had they lost would have been frustrating. But at least you got those other 2 where we're looking at a different type of schedule, a record going into this final game of the 2025 year. So this one is important to just get it, to just feel good about yourself because you still do have 2 more games on the back end of this road trip, including, isn't New York the last one?
Yes.
Including New York on the last one.
Easy W.
You beat them the last time. They want revenge. They're going to want to take you down in the next one. So win this basketball game. And then, so that's the number 1. But then number 2, as we talked about yesterday, Derek, you just spoke about it a little bit at length there too. Kyle, you talked about it. The 3 guys just figuring it out of them 3 out there and you win. Mm-hmm. Simple. You just win. You do enough as a trio to win the basketball game, to headline everything for this game tonight against a team that you should beat.
Well, and I'll say this. These are going to be famous last words when we'll get to the post-game show. And Joel will have played terribly. And I'll be like, if he's going to play like this, just sit him down. I have long been on the corner that he has to be able to. I don't want to say willing, because I think Joel always wants to play. That's one thing I'll never question him on. He and the organization need to be able to put him on the floor when he's not hurt, but he's also not 100%. And I think this is probably an example of one of those games. He has been apparently dealing with an ankle issue.
The hurt versus injured?
Yes. He's also listed on the injury report with an illness. And when you look at Memphis's record and their general place within the league, you would say, maybe you just give him this game off and you trust Maxey and VJ and Paul George and the rest of these guys to get a win. But they can't throw away reps. They cannot treat the regular season as, we're going to just stroll into the playoffs and Joel going to be bubble wrapped the whole year and he's never going to play through any kind of soreness, any kind of minor ailments. I don't want to say injuries. Minor ailments is the way I would put it. So I'm glad that he's going to be out there, because even if this is a game that is a little bit dicey and they come down the stretch and it's like your turn, my turn with Maxey on offense, and the defense gets a little ragged from possession to possession or quarter to quarter, the important thing to me is that they are able to learn more about one another. Nick Nurse gets more information on here's how I build my rotation on the nights where I have my top 3 guys available or my 3 main stars available, whether the top 3 guys may be a different conversation. So I think it's a good starting point. It's a good building block type of game. And hopefully it just restores some positivity, just some good vibes too. I feel a little bit bad that I'm away for 2 weeks and the vibes are soaring from the wins that they're having. VJ's playing great. I come back, everyone's sick. They lose 3 games in a row. I don't want it to be all my fault. So for my sake, please go out there and get a win tonight.
You should feel bad.
I mean, I feel a little bit
when
bad.
you were gone.
I do feel a little bit bad.
Do we think Joel wears socks tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yes.
Says the guy wearing moccasins on the show. But, it's
our physical activity is not really paramount to what we're doing here, Kyle. That's fine.
Yeah, I think he wears socks tonight. I think
and I am wearing socks with my moccasins because you got to be the change you want to see in the world.
And it's freezing outside,
yes.
So that helps too. So, but yes, make sure you wear socks tonight. I'm sure the equipment manager said, "All right, Joel, enough is enough. Put some socks on." Nobody wants to see that. So, as they get ready for this,
I hope Lindsay has not been subjected to the sockless Joel Embiid.
Lindsay, have you seen
photos
Joel wearing no socks in the last game, or at least no show socks? That's what he did.
There's been some debate. I had to get in a room with him and talk to him about this. So we'll see what happens.
I'm someone who wears socks to sleep. So.
No!
Don't.
Now I go the other way on that one. No way. That's a conversation for off air.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we'll get into that another time. But we're going to take our break here on the pregame show. Make sure while you're here, everybody, Got to bust out the foam finger. It was in the other studio the other day. We couldn't get to it. Hit the like button. Make sure you like and subscribe. The bell is back as well. Hit the like button, like and subscribe to the show when we come
Something
back.
happened to the bell? Huh?
No, we just didn't have it last show.
just
So
in the
I
other room.
okay.
had a little
Yeah.
premature bell action
There you
going
go.
on.
Nice. All right. Well, when we come back, we'll talk about the All-Star guards. Tyrese Maxey versus Ja Morant. I don't think we've seen Ja Morant in a while against the Sixers, so we get that matchup. I remember the Tyrese Maxey Ja Morant matchup years ago here in overtime where he put on a show.
That was a hell of a game.
That was a fun one here in town. We'll talk about them. We'll give you the starters and the pregame picks. It's the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365.
Oh, for sure, you're saying post game.
Well, I'll talk about
money on
postgame when we get there with our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Whatever the moments, never ordinary at Bet365. Everybody, make sure this is, you only have a few more days left with the holiday. Or how do they, let me make sure I look at my phone and look at the app. The holiday hot streak available for you right now at Bet365, where you get a surprise profit boost. And when I hit the button, 50% profit boost on any NBA game tonight. You might as well do that on your team. You feel good about them. You're one of the 90 million users worldwide, and you also get to jump in on the live in-game betting, which they have pioneered at Bet365. All right, if you are not, and you said, you know what, my New Year's resolution is to sign up for one of these great places, the only place is Bet365. New customers, breaking news, you get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you deposit 10, place a bet for 5, and you get $150 credited to your account only at Bet365. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Once again, PHLY 365 is the code to sign up. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, we want to tell you about Xfinity's 5-year price guarantee. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense, and that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years, like your superstars players' knees. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable. And the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply.
Back here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Hanging out with you for the final game of the calendar year 2025. And we got to talk about the two guards, the all-star guards, Tyrese Maxey and Ja Morant. Again, we haven't seen Ja Morant, it seems like, in a while. But even if they did, I just don't remember because he's never on the floor. He doesn't take the floor anymore.
For myriad reasons.
A bunch of those, yes. But, Derek, it's always a fun matchup when we see these two guys go up against one another. The talent that they are driving their teams, of course. But so what are you looking for from Tyrese Maxey? As Kyle said, Tyrese, it was good to see him do what he did in the first half against the Oklahoma City Thunder, putting up the numbers that he did. Defense changed in the second half, couldn't keep the score close. Tonight, what are you looking for from him versus Ja Morant? They'll get matched up, I'm sure, occasionally, but what are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, can Tyrese put a whole game together? Can he be effective throughout? Can he balance that playmaking and scoring aspect? And can he and Joel find ways to play off of each other? Which is, something that they have had a lot of experience with, but still they play so infrequently together nowadays, you never really know. And on the other side, I'm just curious to see what Ja has. Like, he's been so bad this year and so in and out of the lineup too. I think he had missed something like 13 in the last 17 games or something of that sort. He's been a part-time player, which he has been really for the last 3 or so years. And his numbers are way down, like off the charts down. Like, he can't, obviously, never been a good shooter from the perimeter. He's shooting low 20s from three right now. Struggling inside the arc. I think he's below 50% for the first time in his career. He just doesn't seem like he has the same pop athletically as he previously did. And for a player who relied on his athleticism so much, I'm really curious to see whether or not this is just somebody who's struggling because he's in and out of the lineup so much, or whether or not, he is just physically a shell of his previous self.
So the major thing I'm watching for tonight is that the Grizzlies are a good defense. Like, if anything, that's what they hang their hat on. They stop teams from scoring in the paint. That's not surprising because Jaren Jackson has long been one of the most prolific shot blockers in the league. When Zach Edey's healthy, he's also a real big body down there. Good rebounder on top of that. So they thankfully don't have to deal with him tonight.
Yeah.
That should give Joel Embiid an opportunity to get some deep paint touches, draw some double teams, hopefully free up the Maxies, the Edgecombes, the PGs of the world to get some open threes. The other end of the floor, it has been a pretty huge disaster for the Grizzlies. I think they're not in the bottom 5, but they're very close to the bottom 5 on offense. And they made a very public and not very well-liked change to the offense. It was a big reason why Taylor Jenkins lost his job last year. It was because they wanted to get away from the pick and rolls and play more of the style of offense that the Miami Heat have changed to this year, which is less ball screens and a little more isolation. And so it has not worked super well. Part of that is exactly what Derek is talking about, that Ja has not looked as athletic. He lost a ton of reps from games missed due to his own shenanigans, but also his body has not exactly stayed healthy these last couple of years as well. So he's just lost a lot of important developmental time. So things that I think people probably took for granted, that was like, this will get better for Ja. He's going to become a better jump shooter. That has just simply not happened. And so when you combine those two things, the decline, even if it's slight, the decline in athleticism, teams loading up on him at the rim and saying, we'll just dare you to shoot all game, it has put a real lid on their offense, not just this year, but when he's played in sparingly over the last couple of years. So they should be able to keep this team down, especially in the state that they're in with all the injuries. So the key will just be scoring enough baskets. Hopefully that Joel, PG, Tyrese combo can get it done. And if they load up on Tyrese and Joel the way that they did in Sunday's game against Oklahoma City, and they dare VJ, for example, to beat them, I hope that VJ is able to have a better game than he did on Sunday.
Ja Morant in the last game the Grizzlies played, they lost to the Washington Wizards in Washington by 4. He had 21 and 7 assists with 3 turnovers. He made 3 of his 5 3-pointers, 8 for 16 from the floor. So he's coming off of a decent game in a game where they put up 112 points in that one, but they lost to the Washington Wizards again. Jaren Jackson Jr. 31 and 8 in his outing with 4 block shots.
Yeah.
And he was 2 for 7 from behind the 3-point line.
There's no such thing as a decent game when you lose to the Washington Wizards.
Individual game. I'm sorry. Yeah, individual game. Yes, but you're right. Washington now 7-23, Grizzlies 15-7 on that one.
Speaking of that Wizards game, did anyone happen to see the logo 3 that Trey Johnson made? We haven't talked about our friend Trey in a while.
He was out for a while.
I was going to say, he's dealing with an injury, so he's been kind of out of sight, out of mind compared to these other prospects. Trey also had a 24-point game in the follow-up. So
and he's starting.
I'm just monitoring things down there.
Yes,
get Chris Middleton the F out of here and get our guy, Trey, some more opportunities down there.
Yes,
in Washington, D.C.
While we're talking about the rookies, we'll certainly keep an eye on Ja and Tyrese Maxey. But Kyle, Cedric Coward, and VJ Edgecombe. Well, we're going to talk about them and see them a little bit out there tonight. And Cedric Coward on the year, 13.5 points, 6.2 boards, and right at 3 assists. He's at 2.9 on the season. And in that game, that last game that he played, 11.6 boards, double figures in his last 5. We just talked about how he averages double figures. He's shooting 32% from behind the 3-point line, something that a lot of people talked about.
Came down. He had a really good start.
Wasn't he in like the 40s when he started?
He was close to 50 at one point. Now that's small sample size and whatnot, but
that'll be something we'll watch for tonight too. First time seeing him.
For sure. And I think, as I mentioned, the defense, that's something that I think compared to a lot of rookies, he was able to come in right away. And part of the reason he's on the radar, despite the fact that he played at low-level colleges and then he moves up to a real D1 school and only plays like a few games, was his frame and his athletic tools are just extraordinary. His wingspan is massive. He's really strong, too. Part of that is a bit older than some of these rookies, right? I think he's 22 or 23. So he's been able to physically develop a little bit more. But so I imagine he's going to probably spend stretches of the game on VJ, probably spend stretches of the game on PG. So I'm interested to see how he looks there. I just think he's a fun player to watch. He's, I think, my type of player. I tend to like these guys. Even when they don't shoot, he's just a two-way player who can do a little bit of everything. Excuse me. Very excited to watch him for the first extended time in a while tonight, because I'll be honest, I've not been watching a lot of Memphis Grizzlies basketball over the last month or so.
Yeah. Coward's first 16 games of the season, 41% from three on 4.9 attempts per game. Over his last 15 games, 21.3% on 4.1%.
That's tough.
He keeps shooting them, though. Not a coward.
Yeah, he notably not a coward.
But there'll be times, too, when he and Edgecombe get matched up here tonight as two rookies that have gotten off to a really good start in their careers. And that's going to be a fun matchup to see how they go against one another. The defense you talk about with Cedric Coward, the same thing that we look at with VJ Edgecombe, or how he could play much better than he did against the Oklahoma City Thunder down the stretch, where all the attention shifted to Tyrese Maxey in that second half to turn things off of what the Sixers were doing overall. He could not answer. We've seen him answer. He did not answer in the last game, and he will get matched up against Wells. He will get matched up against Coward. He needs to win those battles tonight in order for them to win this basketball game. He may be the fourth option. He may be the third option, but he's going to have opportunities.
Yeah, and look, teams have had some success against Tyrese this year by just switching freely. And when you have guys like Coward, who, if he ends up on Tyrese, and I think the Grizzlies probably feel at least okay about that. I think Tyrese is going to win the foot speed battle, maybe more often than not, but he's going to win enough of those that it's going to force Tyrese into some tough stuff. It gets a lot harder to play switch-heavy defense when Joel is out there, and you're able to say, all right, if you're going to switch this and Joel gets a 6'7" guy on his hip in the mid-post or by the basket, that's something that the Sixers are going to try to take advantage of. So I still think that the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey combination is pretty good and something I want to see on the floor, but that also requires Joel to be healthy enough to be out there. So I guess we could talk about the starting lineup at this point, right?
Yeah, let's get to
the starters. That might include Mr. Joel Embiid.
It might include Mr. Joel Embiid. The starters for the Philadelphia 76ers tonight, the normal starting five when Kelly Oubre is not there. This has been your starting five with Edgecombe and Maxey in the backcourt, front court Embiid, Barlow, and George tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers. And they will be going against the Memphis Grizzlies starters that will have Jaren Jackson Jr. in the starting lineup, along with Christian Koloko in the starting lineup. Yeah, so a little bit of a change there for the Memphis Grizzlies, where he's going to be starting along with Cedric Coward, Jalen Wells, and Ja Morant for the starting five tonight against the 76ers. So, Derek, when you look at that, that's a little bit of a wrinkle there from Christian Koloko versus in the last game that they played against Washington. It was, I had it up here, it was Santi Aldama starting, which we would think
Head was crushed from afar.
Right.
The former future Sixer, Santi Aldama.
What do you think of that one as the nod there, Christian Koloko getting the start?
I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a pretty big Santi fan. Haven't exactly...
And Santi's not on the injury report. I just wanted to double check. He's not on the injury report.
I assume this has to be Joel related, that they just want more size.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the...
And to keep, Santi does that to keep Barlow off the glass and those extra 50-50 opportunities that are there.
Yeah.
This one, when I saw his name, I was like, let me make sure that Aldama's not on the injury report, because I'm surprised, as you said.
Well, even still, he's only got 4 games played on the season. Koloko does. It's not exactly something you would expect to be vaulted in the starting lineup, even if Santi wasn't available.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting to have to think too much about Christian Koloko tonight.
But Joel's in the starting lineup.
Yes.
Joel's in the starting
So I assume the plan is going to be he guards Joel and then Jaren as the roamer, which that's Jaren Jackson's best role is as the weak side rim protector, roaming defender. So they're going to show Joel crowds in the middle of the floor. The key is going to be for him to identify, recognize double teams, recognize pressure, find his shooters. That's going to be the game tonight, or it's going to be most of the game tonight. If Joel can make good floor reads, if Joel can be a impactful screen setter, and I do think even in that Chicago game where he was the featured player in the offense, the start of that game was mostly Joel just leveling guys, and Maxey, Edgecombe, and others are getting wide open looks at the rim. So let's see what happens early, and let's see how they're defending Joel and how the Sixers set up. One other thing, looking at that starting lineup that I'm thinking about for the end game, if it ends up being close, I do wonder if Nick Nurse is going to continue saying Quentin Grimes is a default crunch time player, or if the insistence on Dom Barlow's a starter, you want Dom Barlow or another rebounding big type guy next to Joel. We'll see if he ends up getting some closing minutes tonight if the game is close.
Because I would imagine Santi Aldama would be in that closing lineup. So how would that impact that decision making? Kolokolo gets to start, but we know the minutes will probably go to Aldama. So then what will the matchups be? Defensively for Joel Embiid as the counter there on the offensive side, how do you see that starting off defensively? Are you having Joel as the roamer so you don't have to do too much on the perimeter?
Yeah, I think that plays pretty well into what you want Joel to do defensively, because Koloko is not a shooter, and he's not a threat to shoot from the perimeter. Put him on there, let him roam. I think that is a pretty good option for the Sixers, quite honestly.
Yeah, play right into their hands to allow them to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So those are the starters: Joel Embiid, Barlow, George, Edgecombe, and Maxey. And you get Jaren Jackson Jr., who again had 31 in the last game, 2 for 7 from 3, 8 boards, 4 blocks. He will protect the rim. So if VJ Edgecombe is going to the basket, you have to try to put him through a poster because he can clean some things up there in protecting the paint. Ja Morant, Jaden Wells, and Christian Koloko, as we just said. Let's get to the pregame picks presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Last game, I failed you all. I apologize, Tyrese, and
Oh, we didn't get Lindsay's lines tonight?
Lindsay did not.
I just love making some kind of alliteration for the pregame picks. That's my contribution to this segment.
All right, let's get to it. As you guys said, Tyrese Maxey, I think he'll have a good game. I think he will go off in this game and get his 30. That's his average. I think he gets his 30 tonight against the Grizzlies. And I do think Jaren Jackson Jr. makes 2 plus 3s. That's a plus 280 on the night. If you want to add a leg to that and put together the same game parlay where you can use your profit boost to that, have at it at Bet365. Make sure when you sign up, you use code PHLY365 when you sign up. And for new customers, $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you join in at Bet365. So plus 280, Ja Morant 2 threes, and Tyrese Maxey to hit his 30, closing out the year on his average, maybe more on his average tonight against this Memphis Grizzlies team that is a good defense, but I think he can exploit some of the matchups they do have there. One thing about Jaren Jackson Jr. too, it's kind of in that Karl Anthony Towns area of he will get in foul trouble. If you can get him in foul trouble, you can get him off the floor. That'll help you out quite a bit.
And I would imagine that's part of why Koloko is getting the starting nod, because if Jaren Jackson is defending Joel, while he's going to give Joel problems spacing the floor and dragging him out to the perimeter, there will be some reach-ins and silly fouls, and I think that's probably what they're trying to avoid.
Hunt the matchup there, man. Find and hunt the matchup there. So again, Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Those are the pregame picks. All right, when we come back after the game, 10 minutes after the game goes final, we will be back with you for the final pregame show of 2025 for the Sixers.
You mean postgame
show.
He did it.
I did it.
I'm like Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood pointing at the screen.
All right, post-game show, 10 minutes after the game goes final. Will all 4 of us be back with you for the post-game show? Will the Sixers snap their 3-game losing streak? We will find out. For Lindsay, Derek, and Kyle, I'm Devon. We'll be back after the game, hanging out with you, hopefully talking about a victory over this Grizzlies team. They better beat this Grizzlies team because you just better beat
I'll be very grumpy team going into 2026 if they're on a 4-game losing streak. If they lose
this one, you could be looking at an 0-5 road trip.
Who's next, by the way?
Dallas.
Yes.
And they're going to want revenge too?
Yeah, 2 revenge games.
They're not good enough for revenge angles, but still.
We'll see you after the game right here, presented by Bet365. Enjoy.
We all silly like the mayor.